Hey guys! In this video I'm going to show you my process of how I lighten my hair with hydrogen peroxide instead of bleach, and then dyed it pink with numerous attempts. So let's get started. So the first thing I did was use this hydrogen peroxide and baking soda mixture that I saw. So you just add baking soda, enough of it with some hydrogen peroxide to coat all of your hair in roughly a pancake batter mixture, just enough so that it gets all around there. And this was just a rough estimate of how much would cover all my hair. So as you can see, my roots grew out quite a bit since I last got it bleached at the hair salon. I've never lightened it myself, but this is what I want it to be as light as. So I'm comparing the roots to my ends. So then I start adding some of the baking soda peroxide mixture on my hair, just making sure that every single part is saturated. I started with a brush and then just went messy with my fingers because I'm just more comfortable with that way and get more of a feel for it. Just making sure every part of it is lightened, especially around my scalp. So once I've got that all through all the back and front of my hair from the top down to the end, I wrap it up and put it up in a shower cap just to keep all of the heat in and to help it kind of process in my sexy shower cap. And then I put the hair dryer on it just to give it a few more minutes of extra heat, just to kind of kickstart the process of the heat reacting with the peroxide and the baking soda. And then I left it in my hair for a couple hours and put a towel around my neck so that it wouldn't drip down, which is really useful to have. I highly recommend it. So a couple hours later, I blow dried it a little bit more just to get that going. It's hard to see a lot of a difference right away, but it starts becoming cumulative. So this is a little later. You can see it definitely looks lighter. I mean, the baking soda will lie to you because once you wash it out, it won't look this light entirely. So this is right out of the shower. It definitely does look lighter, not quite as light as I want it to yet. But my hair was pretty dry, so I put coconut oil in it to leave in overnight in the shower cap again, especially the ends, because I was really worried about my ends being over processed and like falling out. So I really paid a lot of attention to that coarse bleached hair at the end, that it's hard not to have it drip down to the ends there. And also throughout my whole scalp and down from there. And this was a few days later. You can't really see the full lightness because I let it get pretty greasy just to protect my scalp. And I also decided to try putting some coconut oil in before I add the baking soda peroxide mixture, because they say put on the coconut oil first and then you can put the baking soda and hydrogen peroxide on top of the coconut oil, and it'll actually work really well to lighten it as well as protect your hair from getting too dried out and damaged. So I covered it with the shower cap, wrapped it around, making sure it doesn't drip, and I left that in for at least a few hours to several hours. And then did a little bit of heat. I don't know if adding a little bit of heat helps, but it does look very light there. So I think that was the biggest jump, using that coconut oil before the hydrogen peroxide and baking soda. It lightened up quite a bit. As far as I recall, I left it in for at least 3 to 5 hours. I mean, you can adjust it. I could probably leave it in more, but listen to this crunch. Yeah, those ends are pretty crunchy. I hope that's satisfying to listen to. Probably not, but I definitely needed another coconut oil mask. In retrospect, I probably should have added the coconut oil while my hair was still damp out of the shower, so it would keep moisture in instead of just keeping dryness in. That's at least what I've learned in retrospect. So this was the next day. I decided to do another round because I wanted to get it as light as possible, but I didn't want to get my ends saturated, so I kind of try to put it up in a ponytail and clip it next to my scalp so that it would kind of drip towards the middle of my hair and not at the end. So I started adding a little bit of just straight hydrogen peroxide. I decided to do away with the baking soda because some people say, oh, you don't need the baking soda, just use the hydrogen peroxide. So I did the rest of it with just the peroxide, but it's really up to how localized you want it to be. If you're just doing like a little bit of roots, then it would make sense to just use the baking soda with it to keep it in one specific place. So this is after I got out of the shower. And this time I decided to try to dye my hair pink with beet juice dye that I juiced myself and cooked down with a little bit of coconut oil. Spoiler alert, this didn't work out. If anything, it just made me look like I had a massive head wound, and I looked like the witch from Hocus Pocus, and made my bathroom look like a murder scene. So I wrapped around a red towel to keep any beet juice from dyeing my clothes. So this is the next day. As you can see, it hardly made a difference at all. If anything, maybe it just made my hair a little more brassy and orangey. But I tried again, this time using more beets and kind of thickening it with cornstarch just to make it more like a gel so that I could easily put it all over my hair and see if that worked. But that didn't really work for me either. If anything, just the very ends got a little bit pink looking for like one night, and that was it. So I came back after basically a couple weeks of giving up on this video because I was a little disillusioned about the beet juice. But I'm coming back to dye it pink with Arctic Fox. But first, getting my roots a little lighter that I let grow out. I'm just lightening it one last time before I dye it pink. So as you can see, most of it I'm actually doing is what I'm actually leaning over the sink for most of it. You didn't see it in the previous clips, but most of what I actually do is just lean over the sink with the bowl to catch the hydrogen peroxide so that I don't waste it. I just like get it right back up in my hair to saturate it all. So I got that covered. Do one more blast with the blow dryer. And that's what my hair looked like then. So I was really happy with how light I got it with no bleach whatsoever. Just mostly hydrogen peroxide, that's it. So now I'm using vegan, cruelty-free Arctic Fox Electric Paradise hair dye. And it was around this point that I realized that that little bottle is not enough dye to cover how long my hair is. I have so much hair and that is nowhere near enough dye to cover it all. But I figured I'd make the best of it and just totally saturate the front pieces and scalp of my hair so that it at least looks pink around the front. And then I try to kind of muss it around the rest of my hair. And later on probably get some more pink hair dye. And this is also the first time I've ever colored my own hair by myself, and lightened my own hair by myself for that matter. So this is all new to me, doing it all by myself and not going to a salon or having my mom color my hair for me. I'm just doing it all with my own two hands. So I braided that. It kind of looked cool with like a blonde pink braided look. So this is how it turned out. Looking very cute, strawberry pastel pink around the front, but totally crappy around the back. But that's okay because I'm got a new big nice bottle of Arctic Fox hair dye, much bigger than that last one, so there's definitely enough now to cover the rest of my hair. So to add the conditioner, I decided to squeeze it into the bottle itself and shake it around to get all the hair dye out of it while I was adding conditioner anyway, because I want to get as much of that dye out as possible and not waste it. I also did the same to the smaller bottle, just shaking it up, and that really gets all of the dye out of the bottle. So I was really pleased with that little hack. So that's definitely enough to actually cover all of my thick, long hair so I can make it all pink. And this time I am exclusively working on the back and then gradually working back around the front where I first did my pink hair, just to make sure everything is covered. Giving that lonely back hair some love. I honestly feel like my most confident self with pink hair. So I don't think I'll ever not have pink hair for too long of a stretch, because that's like become who I am at this point. So I'm making sure absolutely every single piece of my hair is saturated, pulling apart my locks, seeing any blonde hairs that I missed in between strands. It's a process, so I'm being as diligent as possible to not just muss it around like it's conditioner, but really get every single piece with every last gob of pink hair dye I could. And I'm also using this back mirror as well as the bathroom mirror, so that's a neat little thing to have, because then I can actually see the back of my hair. And then just swirling around the bottom of the thing, braiding it up and twisting it in and covering it. And I actually left this in the whole rest of the afternoon and evening and overnight. I slept in it, I did errands, filled up the gas, wearing this crocheted beanie so that nobody was the wiser. See? There's the shower cap right underneath and nobody had to know. So I left that in for at least like 16 hours because I really wanted to get this in my hair as much as possible. So this is how it turned out. I am super impressed with hydrogen peroxide, how it lightened my hair enough that you can actually see the pink color this bright. I mean, you can see my roots, like my natural color doesn't take any color dye at all. So the hydrogen peroxide really did lighten my hair quite a bit and made it almost as light as my bleached ends. So I could not recommend hydrogen peroxide more. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. So I hope this was helpful and educational for you and gives you some ideas. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and click like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. See ya!